They may be gaming's most iconic couple, Mario and Peach, but are they actually a couple? Last year, worldwide news agencies that are frankly way too big to be covering the relationship status of a video game plumber came out with headlines and articles that Nintendo had finally cleared up whether Mario and Peach are actually dating. Well, not only is that a question the answer of which has consistently changed over the course of the series' lifespan, even today the answer is still as muddy and unclear as it has always been. So no matter how much E! News tries to tell you the mystery has been solved, that is far from the truth. What is however crystal clear is that Princess Peach was created to be Mario's love interest. Although the manual of the first game doesn't actually go into their bond, the game blatantly ends up with a display of affection, and several high-profile developers like Shigeru Miyamoto and Yoshiaki Koizumi have gone on record to say Mario was planned to have romantic feelings for Peach, or Toadstool as she was still called back then, from the get-go. Hell, Koizumi even said in an interview for Odyssey that this is why Mario always comes to her aid, which does kinda suggest he's not doing it because he's a true hero. No, he wants the girl. I doubt that is Nintendo's official reading, but that is kinda how Koizumi phrases it. His answer whether Peach feels the same way is interesting though. The heart of a woman is a mystery, he says, which is obviously just a little joke, but it actually also does reflect the pattern all throughout the series. From what most games convey, whether they are a couple or not, there are barely any games where Peach is shown to like Mario more than the other way around. And now you may be saying, oh, but Peach always kisses him, she initiates. And that's not untrue, but it is also worth pointing out that Peach hands out smooches like they're gift bags. She kisses Luigi the same ways, and with Toad, Yoshi, and even Toadette. So the fact that she usually initiates with Mario as well doesn't necessarily mean she's into him, and it definitely doesn't mean she's as into Mario as he is into her. Because that is important here. You don't need me to point out every single moment Mario and Peach are paired up or shown together. You know they like each other and that they're not exactly strangers. But how their relationship is portrayed, what exactly their status is, and who is really into who here, that is what often changes. For example, we often consider Super Mario Bros. The start of Peach and Mario's relationship. But Yoshi's Island DS has them already interacting as babies, and the official strategy guide for the game even mentions that they now team up as babies before the romantic entanglement of their adult selves. Alluding that yes, Mario and Peach are romantically entangled. So not only is Mario into Peach and Peach into Mario, they're romantically involved. But then, presumably at the other end of the timeline, you have Mario Odyssey, still the most recent 3D Mario game at this point in time. And here, Mario asks for Peach's hand in marriage, which she refuses, although the post-game does confirm there are no hard feelings, and this was more Mario picking the wrong moment, rather than the full refusal Bowser received. So even if this is not hard confirmation that Peach and Mario aren't together, and perhaps even both would like to marry one day, I do think it's moments like this that show that Mario is more into Peach than the other way around. If Peach proposed to Mario, I can't see him shutting her down. Not at any point or time, let's put it that way. Now, of course, this is partly a bit of an unfair comparison. Mario is the main character. Every game is told from his perspective, while Peach is mostly kidnapped and absent, so of course we see more of his intended feelings than we do Peach's. For example, in both Mario Galaxy games, Peach is referred to as Mario's Special One by Rosalina and Lubba, which is a bit of a fake way to put it, but I think we all know what this means. But because we only see this from Mario's perspective, it now kinda sounds as if Mario is the one who thinks Peach is special, not necessarily the other way around. And while I doubt that is the intention in the Mario Galaxy games, she still sends him mail some way after all. In other titles, there are more hints towards this possibility being more of a crush situation than a full-on relationship. In Super Paper Mario, we meet Love Bee, who fantasizes about one day meeting her one true love. Mario definitely isn't that, by the way, if you were thinking he may have brought his 1000-year door pool with him. Love Bee refers to Mario as an old mustachioed fatty, which I doubt is her type. Anyway, she straight up asks Mario if he's in a relationship, which he denies, and while she can't tell Mario feels strongly about Peach, her conclusion is that Mario has a one-sided crush on Peach, which is one of the few times their romantic interest is confirmed without also confirming they are actually together. Usually when the games say anything blatant, they make Mario and Peach an item, like in Mario Party 5, which calls them pairing up the cutest couple. Okay, so that pretty much cements Mario is down the clown, but it takes two to tango, so how is Peach feeling? After all, if this random Super Paper Mario character is right that Mario's crush is one-sided, that would mean Peach does not have feelings for him. So, is there any truth to that? Well, if we assume that Odyssey ends on the status quo again after Peach's brief in-the-moment snubbing, then no, not really. In fact, while it is definitely more rare than with Mario, Peach too has had various moments that show her devotion and love for Mario. Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars mentions Mario in Peach's profile, calling him her knight in shining armor, which I guess technically doesn't have to be romantic, but come on. But by far, by a country mile, the biggest display of affection by Peach towards Mario is in Super Princess Peach, which only further shows how much it matters who the main character is in regards to how we see their feelings. Not only does this game show that Peach is willing to go to the same lengths Mario goes through every week to save him, which of course harkens back to what Koizumi said about Mario. He comes to Peach's rescue because he's into her. If Peach comes to Mario's rescue, what does that say? That's all for discussion, but what is certainly not is the game's ending. Once Mario is freed from his cage, Peach pushes Luigi aside to embrace with Mario while showing a level of happiness we rarely ever see from the pretty muted and proper Peach. They dance and then Mario picks her up like a groom would his bride, giving her a bouquet of flowers. Now, that last part is essentially Mario's equivalent of Peach giving him a kiss, you could say, but there is no denying the happiness and relief Peach shows here upon having Mario back. I find it hard to say I am looking at a one-sided crush here, that's not what I think is being depicted here. But whether it's a couple, two people in a relationship, that is also not blatantly shown, at least not here, even if Peach has never been more excited to see Mario. There is evidence pointing that way, like Mario Party 5's team name, or more recently the intro to Mario Golf Super Rush, which shows Mario and Peach holding hands in a way that can really only mean one thing. But the problem is, there is evidence for every possible connection at this point, so what really matters is what Nintendo thinks right now, in the year 2026. And that brings us back to July 25th, 2025, the day news agencies decided reporting on Mario's relationship status was important. Their articles were entirely based on a post on Nintendo Today, which said Princess Peach and Mario are good friends and help each other out whenever they can. It's a pretty weak statement to say the least, it's pretty much without any form of intrigue. You could replace these names with Yoshi or Luigi or Toad or Daisy and it would still work. But the conclusion of every single one of these articles was, oh, so Mario and Peach aren't together then. And that is simply untrue. Nowhere in this line of text does it say Mario and Peach are only friends. It simply says they are friends, which doesn't rule out anything more. Yet that was the angle most places went with, including some who just flat out added the word just to the phrasing, even though Nintendo themselves never used it. And the real truth could be found in the original Japanese text. While I was unable to find what this Nintendo Today post was like in Japan, I also didn't need it. The official Mario Portal website uses the exact same friendly phrasing, which is presumably just where Nintendo Today got it from. So by looking at the Japanese Mario Portal, we can see how they view this connection in Nintendo's native language. And wouldn't you know it, the phrasing is quite a bit different. Mario's profile mentions he makes a great pair with Luigi and that he loves Princess Peach or loves being with Princess Peach. There is not really a perfect translation, but there is a clear difference in wording between how Mario views Luigi and how he views Peach, and that wording is also completely different from what you would use with, say, a best friend. Though I can't say it blatantly confirms they're an item, this is much less ambiguous than the English phrasing. In Peach's profile, Mario is mentioned as someone she's very close to, spends a lot of time with and relies on, which is a bit more vague, I will admit, further harkening back to the earlier points of Mario being more into Peach than the other way around, but I think we can all agree that this goes beyond what the English translation did with it, even if you don't read Peach's profile as romantic necessarily. And that shows another thing that I suspect is going on here, but I can't exactly prove it because of a lack of access to the potential evidence. Which is that Mario and Peach's relationship is actually being downplayed by the localization teams. Or in other words, Nintendo of Japan speaks more freely about Mario and Peach's relationship than Nintendo of America and as a result, Nintendo of Europe do. Again, that is hard to prove without knowing what is going on inside their offices, but it would explain a lot of the patterns in this video. It explains why the Japanese Mario Portal is much more blatant and open than the English version. It explains why the games are usually depicting much more than what Nintendo today calls friends. They're made in Japan after all. I mean, they have stickers like this that don't exactly beat around the bush. And if you're wondering what you're looking at, this is an official Line sticker used for a popular messaging app in Japan called Line. Nintendo has released a whole slew of stickers for it. Anyway, to conclude, are Mario and Peach an item? That is very hard to say, and I suspect the official Nintendo answer, or Nintendo of Japan to be more specific, is yes, but not fully. I don't think we'll ever have a game where Mario and Peach are together, but I feel we will certainly have games that allude to there being something there. Think of it not as gaming's most famous relationship, but rather gaming's most famous will they won't they. And usually those only end in one way. And I don't mean friends, E-News. What do you think Mario and Peach's relationship status is? And will it ever be confirmed? Share it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. And if you really want to support me, you can now become a channel member to get all kinds of fun perks and help me keep bringing these videos to your doorstep every week. For now, thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.